you just cannot burn yourself out, right? Because the second you do that, your work just feels so heavy and it's hard to pull yourself out of burning yourself out, right? So how about you, right? As a founder, like what does your schedule look like, and how do you kind of balance things?
I'm either like eating, sleeping, working, thinking about work, and maybe exercising. Like those are the things I can I'll try to fit into my schedule, and you'll realize they left out relationships, and
totally.
it's a temporary trade-off, and I think everyone recognizes every moment of every day is a trade-off of some kind, and you need to figure out what trade-off makes sense for you. And I can't remember which book mentioned it, but there's some book that referenced the idea that for creative type roles, you can't sustainably reach peak creativity if you're working more than 60 hours a week on the regular.
I'm excited. This is perfect timing because I literally just finished something and I was like, what am I going to download now?
I download more audiobooks faster at the rate than I consume them. I miss, so one part of the things I really enjoyed prior to COVID was the fact that I had to drive everywhere. I had to drive to work, drive home, and that was just audiobook time. Mm-hmm. Now I literally drive to the grocery store and I drive home, and that's really about the bulk of my travel. Mm-hmm. The store is like 10 minutes down from where I live, so it's not that much time to get an audiobook in.
Yes, I had the same problem. The addiction. I had to figure out new ways. So I've discovered, house cleaning. There's still places that you can put your audiobook time. But I do miss it's the perfect combination for driving. It really is.
Yeah. So let's say we fast forward a few years and you're making like, I don't know, a few $1 million a year. Would you buy a Lambo at that point, or do you think it's not relevant to you anymore?
I don't know. I don't know how will I be like making a few $1 million in a few. I don't have a straight path to that for myself. Okay. Will I be buying a Lamborghini out of it? I don't know. Does not seem like the most useful thing to do with your money, unless I'm trying to brag around. I think at least COVID has made that even more out there, because the car has been standing out for like over a year, and it's been driven I think 10 times at best right now. I don't know. So I would definitely spend buy the most expensive Herman Cardin Logitech chair that is out there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would like a really comfy chair and a great work desk. And I think the top of the line computer, I think those things matter to me. I think my tools matter to me. I don't know. These are the things that really matter, and I use.
Did you know that you'd have to pitch as many times as you did to get the capital you wanted?
And I'm laughing only because one of my co-founders knows that I'm not very realistic about these things, and I was like, we're gonna have it done by December, and I was like, no, or I said we're gonna have it done by December. She was like, no, and I was like, I think it's gonna be 4 or 5, 47 times later, and I think I probably lost count. It's probably even higher than that, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna make Series A hopefully look easy. Comparatively, probably not, but being optimistic again.
Well, I guess it comes down to the metrics. If the metrics are really, really good,
yeah, that's true. And it's so hard.
The metrics are the hardest part.
If we have an exit, I know exactly who I'm not going to invest in. I know what it sounds like.
You recognize sometimes that you're wrong, and I'm wrong a lot. I'm okay with that. And you apologize when you make a decision that is incorrect, or you say something that you feel like may have hurt someone's feelings, or whatever the case may be. It's just like a marriage. So, not that I don't know anything about that.
Are you single?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm married to Actuate, unfortunately.
So, since you're the COO, can you walk us through what a typical day looks like, if there is such a thing?
Yeah. So I think what's interesting about again being the COO of a company involved in a decentralized network is there's sort of the things we deal with every day that any COO would deal with, which is just internal company stuff. I personally spend a lot of time on the product side, and really spending a lot of time trying to find bridges and connectors between product and our BD teams. I find that it's important that it's sort of just a function of where you sit. There's an ability to see sort of above all of it and identify when there's points of inefficiency or when there's times where teams really need to talk together more.
On the topic of lack of time, how do you find time to balance your personal and professional?
Man, I think that is the hardest one, right? So I felt like, for the past couple of years, that has been pretty hard for me to balance that, right?
and subconsciously, I would like to have more, right? And I certainly want my team to have the better work-life balance, right? So we certainly want that, right? So first, I want to say that is very important for us as a company. But I think just for me personally is harder, and because I just want to jump in, right? And sometimes my CMO was here in my office early this morning, and he said, "Hey, I saw you make another commit this weekend. You got to stop doing that, right? And you got to stop jumping into the code and go do something else."
Were you the person who built the MVP?
Yes, I was still fixing some bugs today actually, but I don't want to do that anymore.
How'd you decide what features you want in the MVP, and how'd you decide what goes in scope and what gets removed out of scope?
Well, it's a priority list. So we have, our Trello board and then our big backlog of things. And then we just prioritize what's the most important thing right now, feature-wise, but also maybe if something is just like a quick fix, but really helpful for a marketing team or something, we try to do that. And the sales team always wants stuff, but we have to say no sometimes. Too loud.
Blitzscaling is a book that's been mentioned 3 times in the past 3 days in this podcast.
Yeah, no, I've really liked how Reid Hoffman paints the picture about different stages of a company growth, and how at different stages of company growth you have to wear a different hat, bring in different perspective, and then you have to evolve, right? And sometimes you have to ask a tough question to yourself: can you scale the company to the next level, or do you need people with new skill set to come in and help you take the company to the next level?
And when you first got started, did you buy each individual, the package material, the package clothes as in bulk, or did you buy it individually and then ship it out to the customer?
Well, we did a lot of hacks, and shop owners hated us. There was this program in H&M where you can you could take 3, I don't remember if it was 3 or 5 clothing items, and if you donate the 5 items, then you will get 20% discount.
I see.
So we were with our old t-shirts and then 20% discount, and we bought $10,000 or $20,000.
Did they contact you about that?
Yeah, of course, yeah. They changed their policy after that.
One of the challenges, and I'm also totally on board with authenticity, but one of its challenges is that people can also authentically differ on certain philosophies. How do you manage that? At some point, not everyone can hold to their view of what they want the world to be. There will come a point where people have different views, and how do you resolve that as a leader of people?
Yeah, it's interesting because I was having a conversation with my head of product recently about a pool party, looking at a startup as a pool party concept. When up till 50 people, I think, or up till 40 people, whenever you have an offsite, you'll try to look for people who will always jump in the pool with you, no matter what. They want to sit with you, drink pina coladas, and chill and talk the same shit all the time, pardon my language. But as you grow as a company, you will start to see that there are people that actually don't enter the pool in those pool parties and sit outside the pool are equally important to scale the company and hold the company and bring diverse values and have a different culturally, a different opinion, and that's great. I mean, you want that, but I think the balance is when is the right time to get those people sitting outside the pool. Because if you do that very early on, then you break that initial culture which is being built.